Okay, it's that time of year again where we go through the maths exam, and obviously it's easier as a video so that you can rewind, pause it, or fast forward as you need. Okay, so the first one, we're going to expand and simplify. Now, you don't have to use the grids, and some of you are really confident without using the grids, and that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to do 9 times 2b, which is 18b, 9 times 8, which is 72, and then do the next one is 4 times 7b, which is 28b, and then 4 times minus 5. Remember, it's minus, so we've got to be careful, which is minus 20. I put together my b's, so 18b plus 28b is 46b. And then 72 take away 20 is positive 52. So your answer is 46b plus 52. Okay, to factorise, remember I showed you a way where we write it with its prime factors first of all. So 40 is the same as writing 2 times 2 times 2 times 5, then times x, and then times y times y. Take away, 16 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times y, times another y, times another y. Okay, so that is exactly the same as this here. I'm going to circle the ones that appear on both terms. So I've got a 2 here and a 2 on this term. A 2 here and a 2 on this term. Another 2 and another 2 here. What else do I have? I have a y and a y here, a y and another y here. So when I look at what appears on both, it's 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8, y times y. So 8y squared comes outside the brackets. And then inside the brackets on this term, I've got the 5 and the x left. So I put 5x. Take away, and then on the other term, I've got 2 times y times y. So 2y squared, and I have factorised it. Okay, now we're going to solve this. Lots of different ways. I personally would get rid of the 1/6 by multiplying both sides by 6. All that does is get rid of the 1/6. So here I end up with x minus 8 equals 72. And now it's nice and easy. I'm going to add 8 to both sides to get rid of the minus 8 here, and that gives me x equals 80. Here, we did this together in class, some examples like this. So there are 6 eggs in a small box and 12 eggs in a large box. So T equals, we would put 6H for the small boxes. So if I had one small box, I would do 6 times 1, which means that I've got 6 eggs. If I had 2 small boxes, I would do 6 times 2, which means I have 12 eggs, and so on. Plus 12H. I've done that the wrong way around. Sorry, G is the number of small boxes. So G plus 12H. Okay, that's the number of large boxes. That's your answer there. Okay, question 2. Sorry, just checking. Question 2, we want to fill this in here, and it says that we add the scores together. So let's do that. So that should be 4, that's 5, that's 5, 7, so 6 plus 1, 7. So we're just adding this and this for 9, and so on. So just adding them up, and that gets you 2 marks. Find the probability that Haneko's total score is 8. So if you look through, you can see an 8 here, and that's it. So it is 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 1 out of a possible 12. Haneko's total score is less than 7. So let's highlight those that are less than 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is it. So it doesn't say includes the 7, so it's just less than 7. So there were only 5, so 5 out of a possible 12. Next one. So a steam engine for pulling trains has wheels of diameter 1.5 meters, and it wants the circumference. Now be careful. Remember, there are 2 ways of working out the circumference: either pi times diameter or 2 times pi times radius. Now we have only the diameter, and so we are just going to do pi times the diameter, which we know is 1.5. So pi times 1.5 to 3 significant figures is 4.71. Okay, so 4.71 meters. Now, it says that it travels along 1,000 meters along a test track. Work out the number of complete turns of a wheel. So remember, the complete turns are the same as the circumference. So we're trying to find out how many times does it go the full circumference in 1,000 meters. To do that, you need to do a division. So we're going to do 1,000 divided by 4.71. So we're going to see how many full turns it does, and to the nearest whole number, when you do that, you get 212. So it will turn completely 212. Okay, we can ignore any decimals on that because it's not a complete turn. It wants complete turns. Okay, show that. So we're adding fractions, so we need to make sure that the denominators are the same. I'm going to make both denominators 15. So I'm going to multiply the top and bottom of this first one by 3, and the top and bottom of the second one by 5. That gives me 12 over 15 plus 10 over 15. This gives me 22, because 12 plus 10 is 22 over 15. Remember, the denominator stays the same. Then you have to say to yourself, how many 15s go into 22? 1, remainder 7. And remember, the denominator stays the same. Okay. Part B, a division. You do not need to make sure that the denominators are the same for this one. All you need to do is change it into a top-heavy fraction or improper fraction by doing 2 times 4, then add 1. So 2 times 4 is 8, add 1 is 9, and the denominator stays the same. So 9 quarters divided by 3 times 2, which is 6, add 1, which is 7. So 7 over 2. So 7 over 2. So remember, leave it, change it, the sign, and flip the second fraction. So we're going to leave it as 9 quarters, the first one, change the sign to a multiplication sign, and flip the second fraction so that the 2 is on top and the 7 is on the bottom. And now you can work it out. 9 times 2 is 18, over 4 times 7, which is 28. That can be simplified because they're both divisible by 2. So 2 is the biggest number that goes into both 18 and 28. and that gives you 9/14. And you must show all this working out in order to get full marks. Okay, so next one we're going to make D the subject. So let's undo what's happening to D. The first thing I'm going to undo is the minus E by adding E to both sides. And so I get Y plus E equals D times X. Now I still want to leave D by itself, so I'm going to undo the times by X by dividing by X. And so I get that D equals Y plus E over X. And that's it. Right, so this one, a lot of you did this correctly. So it said, write an expression for the perimeter. You all realise that because these two sides are equal, this must also be 2x plus 1. And that the perimeter is all the sides added up. So most of you did this correctly. You did 2x plus 1 plus another 2x plus 1 plus 10 minus x. And then you gathered all your like terms, so 2x plus 2x minus x. So 2 plus 2 is 4, minus x is 3, so 3x. And then you did 1 plus 1, which is 2 plus 10, which is 12. So you did plus 12. The thing that some of you did not read properly is that it says factorise the answer fully if you can. And actually you can factorise this. So let's factorise it. 3x is 3 times x plus 12 can be written as 2 times 2 times 3. And you look at, okay, what appears in both terms? The 3. And that's it. So we take 3 outside the brackets. Inside the brackets, on this term, we've got left the x. And on this term, so plus, we've got 2 times 2, which is 4. And I think that's where some of you lost your last mark, is you did not factorise it fully. Okay, on this one, a lot of you did not like this one. So we want to find the value of x. So we've got quite a bit of work to do. So first of all, these are parallel lines. So remember, these symbols here mean that they are parallel. So let's find out, first of all, we know that angles on a straight line, so here, add up to 180. So this angle here is 180, take away 112, which is 68. So this here is 68 degrees. So we know that. And so we can then do some stuff with our alternate angles. So here, here, and here. We've got alternate angles. Does it say you have to put your reasons? No, so that's fine. So we can just write x is 68 because alternate angles are equal, but it's not asking you to put your reasons. So x is 68 degrees. Okay, so you can see here and here are equal. They are alternate angles. Okay, next thing we have to do is find y. So the easiest thing to find y is, I think, is to look at all the exterior angles. So you know that the exterior angles, so I'll write this down, but you don't have to. The exterior angles of any polygon add up to 360 degrees. And so we've got most of the we've got most of the exterior angles. We've got this one, so it's 112. This one, 67. And then 74. We know this one now is 68. So we've got 4 of them, and we're just trying to find the 5th one, so that's fine. Nice and easy. So we add them all up, and then we subtract that from 360. So I haven't got a calculator with me while I'm doing this. I should have. So you add them all up. You can just do it on your calculator. I'm just going to quickly do this here. So 10 plus 11 is 21. 8, 9, 16, 22. So 322. And now to get our answer, we'll do 360, take away 321, which gives us 39 degrees. Okay, so y is 39 degrees for that one. Work out the sum of the interior angles of the pentagon. Now, you could have either memorized this, and some of you have, as 540. If you didn't memorize it, remember it's always the number of sides, which in this case a pentagon has 5 sides. So it's the number of sides, take away 2, times by 180. And again, you can just do it on your calculator, 3 times 180, which is 540. Right, so now we're doing an enlargement by scale factor 2. Again, there are different ways to do this. You know that my favourite way is to count squares. So in order for me to go from the centre of enlargement to this corner here, I go across 1, up 2. I'm going to do the journey twice because it's scale factor 2. So I'm going to go across 1, up 2, and this is my new corner here. I could probably draw in the shape now, but I'll do another corner. I'm going to do this corner here. To get to this corner, I go across 3, up 2. So I'm going to do it one more time, across 3, up 2. So my new corner is now here. Now let's do this corner here. Across 3, up 3. Across 3, up 1, 2, 3. So it's now here. So I did that journey twice. And then finally I'll do this corner here. To get to it, I go across 2, up 3. So I'm going to go across 2 again and up 1, 2, 3. So I end up here. And then I can just draw in my shape. And obviously you can always check, is this twice the size? Yeah. This was 2 along, now it's 4 along. This was 1 up, this is now 2 up, and so on. So you just double check that it is twice the size. You got 1 mark if you did enlarge it by scale factor 2, but drew it in the wrong place. To get full marks, you need to obviously enlarge it and then draw it in the correct place. Okay, on this one, so we're doing, we are looking at the scale of the model. So the wingspan is 50 centimetres. The wingspan of the real plane is 80 metres. Now remember, to do a ratio, you have to make both the units the same. Okay, so I'm going to make them both centimetres, okay? And so I am going to say that the real one, 80 metres, so there are 100 centimetres in 1 metre. So I'll just write that up here, 100 centimetres in 1 metre. So 80 metres is 8,000, because I've just times that by 100, 8,000 centimetres. So it's 8,000 to 50. So that's what it is. Doesn't matter which way round we do it, as long as it's 1 to something. And so, hold on, the scale model. So actually we should do it the other way. We'll do it the other way round. And we'll do 50 to 8,000. So I'm going to divide both sides by 50. And again, you can do this on your calculator and you get 1 to 160. So 1 to 160 once you do 8,000 divided by 50. Next one, the length of the real plane is 72 meters. Work out the length of the model. Okay, so you know that the real, so it's 1 to 160. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to do 72 times by 100 and then divided by 160. Okay, so I mean there are lots of different ways we can do this. You should get 45 centimeters as the correct answer. You could even use the original, so you could do 72 divided by 80 and then times by 50 to still give you 45 centimeters. So that gives you 45 centimetres. Next one, we're going to draw this. So we know that 3x take away 5 means times by 3, then subtract 5. So for each of these values of x, I'm going to times them by 3, then take away 5. So minus 2 times 3 is minus 6, take away 5 is minus 11. Minus 1 times 3 is minus 4, then take away 5 is minus 9. Next one, not sure I've worked that one out right. Let me just quickly check that. Minus 2 times 3 is minus 6. Take away 5 is minus 11. So I've done that one right. It's the second one I haven't done right. Minus 1 times 3 is minus 3. Take away 5 is minus 8. 0 times 3 is 0. Take away 5 is minus 5. 1 times 3 is 3. Take away 5 is minus 2. And then 2 times 3 is 6, take away 5 is 1. And then 3 times 3 is 9, take away 5 is 4. And then you simply plot those points. So we've got minus 2, minus 11. So minus 2, minus 11. Minus 1, minus 8. 0, minus 5. 1, minus 2, 2, 1, and 3, 4. And then draw a straight line going through all those points, like so. And then that would be your correct answer with straight line through. Question 10, it asks you for the equation of L. So we want the equation of this line. In order for the equation of this line, remember, equation to look like this, y equals mx plus c. We know that m is always your gradient, which is what we've got to find. And c is where it crosses the y-axis, so the y-intercept. Okay, so the first thing we'll do is the gradient. We pick 2 points. So I'm picking this one where I can count whole squares. And so that's 3 divided by 1. So my gradient is up divided by across. So 3 divided by 1, which gives me a gradient of 3. Now, where it crosses the y-axis, you can see it crosses at -2. So the line crosses the y-axis, which is your vertical line here, at -2. So then when we put it all together, we can say it's y equals, instead of mx, I'm going to put 3x because I know that the gradient is 3. And instead of c, I'm going to put -2. So that's my equation of the line. Y equals 3x, take away 2. Okay, here are some questions about a two-way table. And so if I was you, I would fill this in. It will make it easier to answer the questions later. So for this one, I worked out 20 take away 9, which gives me 11. Then for here, I did 20 take away 13, which gives me 7. For here, I would do 7 take away 6, which is 1. Then for here, I would do 11 take away 1, which is 10. And then finally for here, there are lots of different ways I could do this. 13 take away 10 gives me 3, or I could do 9 take away 6, which gives me 3. So lots of different ways. Now that I've filled it in, I can read the question. What is the probability that the female student chosen prefers Spanish? So it's only out of the female students. So I've got 11 female students in total. So it's going to be out of 11, and 10 of them prefer Spanish out of 11. So it's 10 out of 11. You do not put it out of 20 because it says already that they're only picking from the female students, and there are only 11 female students. Okay, each of the 20 students take a test in Spanish and a test in German. So here we have our scatter graph, and then we are going to describe the correlation. So we're just going to say it is a positive correlation. We don't need to put any more information than that because it doesn't say describe the relationship. So we're just going to put positive correlation. Then it asks us to do an estimate. In order for that to happen, we need to draw a line of best fit, and it even tells you, says using a line of best fit. So let's draw that in. So roughly as many above as below the line. It's not going to be perfect, and it does not need to go through 0, 0. So we need to estimate if they got 65 on their Spanish test. So if they got 65, which is here. Ooh, keep it in the middle. So that's 65 on their Spanish test. What did they get on their German test? So roughly reading it off. I would say 58 from that, okay? So my answer would be 58. Yours will vary, and in fact, it says that I can accept anything between 50 and 60, okay? Because it depends on how you've drawn your line, and everyone's line of best fit will be slightly different, okay? So there is a range there between 50 and 60. Okay. Next, we've got here 2 sprinters run a series of races, and we have to decide which sprinter we're going to use. And remember, I told you that you would need to find some averages and a range, okay? You do not need to find more than one average, but I'm going to show you we could have used the mean or the median. It doesn't matter which one. Remember, the mean is adding them all up, and dividing by how many. So if I add up 11.1 plus 14 plus 11.6 plus 10.7, 10.7 plus 13.5, and then divide it by 5 races, I get a mean of 12.18 for sprinter A. Okay, for sprinter B, remember I'm only doing it out of 4 races because he didn't run race 4. So I'm going to do 12.2 plus 12.4 plus 12.3 plus 12.2, and I'm going to divide it by 4 instead, which gives me a mean of 12.275. Okay, so I found the mean, and that should be enough, but I can also find the median. So remember, the median is the middle number. You put them in order and find the middle. So if I put sprinter A's results in order, so from smallest to largest, 10.7, then I would put 11.1, then I would put 11.6, then I would put 13.5, and then 14. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is the middle because you've got 2 numbers either side. So 11.6 is my median. And then sprinter B, if I put them in order, so putting them in order, I've got 12.2, another 12.2, 12.3, and then 12.4. My middle is between 12.2 and 12.3, so 2 numbers either side. So my median for this one is 12.25, so that is smack bang in the middle of 12.2 and 12.3. And the last thing I could work out is the range, and that is the biggest take away smallest. So for sprinter A, it's 14 take away 10.7, which is 3.3. For sprinter B, it would be 12.4 take away 12.2, and that gives you 0.2. Now, surprisingly, on this one, your conclusion, so you're working out, I think is worth 2 of the 3 marks. So as long as you worked out either the mean or the median, and then you worked out a range for both sprinters, you would get 2 marks. Now, the last mark in this question is for a correct decision, saying why. Okay, so you can either say, oh, I'm going to choose sprinter A because they are faster. They are faster on average. Okay, so you can see there that when you look at the averages, the time that it takes to run the races, sprinter A has been less each time. So you can see there and there. So on average, sprinter A is faster. Or you would still get marks if you put, I would choose sprinter B because they are more consistent. They are more consistent. And the reason you can tell they are more consistent is because you can see here that the range is lower on B, so it's much more consistent, whereas A, even though on average they're faster, they're not very consistent. well, not as consistent as B. Okay, so either will do to get that final mark. Okay, now on to 13. Write down the modal class interval. So it's the one with the highest frequency, and so it would be between 20 and 30. So that would be your answer there for the modal class. Work out an estimate for the range of times taken to get to school. It's called an estimate because you don't actually know the exact times, but you take the biggest it could possibly be, take away the smallest it could possibly be. So in this case, the biggest it could possibly be is 60, the smallest being 10, so 50 minutes is your range. Next, it says draw a frequency diagram for the information in the table. So remember that we plot midpoints, okay? So the first one, the midpoint between 10 and 20 is 15. So we go 15 across the 15 up to 2. So that is your first point. Next one, the middle of 20 and 30 is 25. And so you go along to 25 and up to 12. Next one, in between 30 and 40 is 35. So I'll go 35, 5. So 35, 5 is smack bang in the middle of 4 and 6. So here. Next, 45 is the middle of 40 and 50, so 45, 9. So 45, 9 is smack bang in the middle here. The next one is 55, 4. So we go 55, 4, and then we simply get our ruler and draw a straight line between the points. Oh, I've missed out a point, I think. Ignore that. I've missed out 45, 9. Sorry, so 45, 9 is here. Ooh. So there you go. And that's your frequency diagram. Okay, here I'll just explain how to do it. You can obviously watch some of the videos I put on Classroom to remind you, but you should put a point, your point of your compass on one end, and draw a curve. Make sure that you open up your compass just over halfway. Keep it open that same amount, and then put your point the other end. Draw a curve the other side, and then get your ruler and draw a straight line going through going through where the points, where the arcs cross. Sorry, that's not even good, but hopefully I've explained that well enough that you can do that. Okay, in a sale, the cost of a book is reduced by 20%. The book now costs 21. So this is a reverse percentage question. So the original cost, if you were reducing it, you would have multiplied by 0.8. Because remember, we do 100%, take away 20%, and that gives you 80%, which is 0.8 as a decimal. So we would have multiplied the original by 0.8, which gives us $21. Then you work backwards and you do 21 divided by 0.8. So you do the opposite of timesing by 0.8, and that will give you the original cost. So the original cost was $26.25. Okay. Next, so we've got a game is on sale. Which shop would the game be the cheapest for the student? So we know that the student is a member at shop B, show you're working at. So shop A, game costs $50, all prices reduced by 15%. So for shop A, all I'm going to do is 50 multiplied by 0.85 to do a 15% reduction. So 50 times 0.85, so that is $42.50. Then shop B, $60, all prices reduced by 20%. So I'm going to do 60 times 0.8 to do a 20% reduction times 0.8. Gives me $48. But then it says that then a further 10% off for members only. So I'm going to take that 48 and times it by 0.9 to do a further 10% reduction because he's a member. And that gives me a total of $43.20. Okay, so clearly shop A is cheapest. So shop A is cheapest. Okay, and you can see all my working out there. Okay, next we've got our friend Manzi, who has left her home at 9 o'clock to walk to the shops. How many minutes did it take Manzi to walk from the newspaper shop to the fish shop? And so she's she's gone from here, the newspaper shop, to the fish shop. How long did it take her? So we know that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So each one is 5 minutes. So it took her, so 1, 2, so it took her 10 minutes. So 10 minutes to walk to the fish shop. Work out the average speed in kilometres per hour for Manzi's journey from her home to the newspaper shop. So we know, of course she stopped on the way, but we're not going to count that. So from her home to the newspaper shop, okay, she didn't stop on the way, so it is 1 kilometre from home. So it's 1, so remember it's speed is distance divided by time. And so we're going to do 1 kilometre. So we can see that to get to the newspaper shop, it was 1 kilometre away, and it took her 1, 2, 3. So 3. So that's 15 minutes. And remember, 15 minutes is a quarter of an hour. So I'll just write that down. 15 minutes equals 0.25 hours. And the reason why I write that is because it wants it in kilometres per hour. So I'm going to do 1 divided by 0.25, which gives me 4 kilometres per hour. Then we know that Manzi stops for 10 minutes in the fish shop. She then walked home at a constant speed of 3 kilometres per hour, shows information on the graph. So we know that one of these squares is 5 minutes, so 2 must be 10. So we do a horizontal line showing the 10 minutes. And then 3 kilometres per hour. So we can do a quick calculation. Some of you can do it without the calculation. So we know the speed, we know the distance, we want to find the time. So time is distance divided by speed. So the distance that we're going to have to walk back from is 1.5 kilometres. divided by the speed, which is 3 kilometers per hour. So that we know that if we do 1.5 divided by 3, it gives us 0.5, and remember that's in hours, and 0.5 hours is half an hour, so 30 minutes. So we know that from here, 30 minutes, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So here must be where they get home. So gets home at 10:10. Okay, last question then. Write a formula for D in terms of C. So you can see here that this is times by 4, and that's the beauty of direct proportion. We can simply write D equals 4C. Okay, so each time to get D, all we've done is multiply by 4. And then, because we now know that, to fill this in, so last 2 marks is to fill this table in, we're just going to multiply by 4 to get 20 here. If we're working back the other way, we're going to divide by 4, so that must be 7. And then here, times by 4 to give me 48. And so that would fill that in. Okay, if you have any questions, remember to ask